Good morning, Asbury students. Today is part 2 of our Mental Health Matters series, where we are discussing the 4 pillars of mental health, which, as you may or may not know, are relationships, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about nutrition and the impact that it can have on our mental health. So studies are increasingly indicating that nutrition has a huge role to play in our mood and mindset. We have neurotransmitters in our brains, such as serotonin, dopamine, and others, which regulate our sleep, appetite, and moods, and often those who are identified as deficient in serotonin have been diagnosed with mental health disorders, such as anxiety and depression. But what you may have not realized is that 95% of serotonin is actually produced in your gut, meaning that your digestive system plays a huge role in regulating your emotions. So when you ingest foods that lead to a lot of inflammation, such as those that are high in sugar or highly processed, these can directly impact your ability to have focus, energy, and clarity. Other studies have also shown that the risk for depression is actually 25 to 35% lower in those who eat traditional diets, which are high in vegetables, fruits, unprocessed grains, and fish with moderate protein, versus the typical Western diet full of sugar, carbs, and just a whole bunch of other chemicals and things that our bodies don't need. Now, nutritional psychiatry is a field that takes into account the fact that each of us has something that's called biochemical individuality, which means that your brain at birth has a set point of certain neurotransmitters which impact your personality, your behavior, your immunity to disease, how at risk you are for developing mental health disorders. However, nutritional psychiatry also says that we do not have all the neurotransmitters we need at birth, and the development of those is greatly impacted by the nutrients we take in and the quality of those nutrients. So what that basically means is you were born with a certain biochemical set point that may or may not put you at risk for mental health disorders. However, it also means that you have great power and great control over your mood, over your appetite, through what type of foods you do or don't ingest. And there are a lot of choices you can make that can really positively impact your health and well-being, just with maybe even some very simple, manageable changes. So we all know that we need to eat healthily. We all know that it's important. We all know that you might even have already known that things like your focus, your mood, your clarity, your energy are impacted by what you eat. But often we struggle to do that. And so I want to discuss a little bit what some of our motivating factors would be to make changes to what you're eating, especially since this can be really difficult to do. And the first thing I like to say is that, we have a relationship with food just the same as we have a relationship with other parts of our lives, with even other people in our lives. And for a lot of us, that relationship with food can be accompanied with a lot of either guilt or shame or just expectations from the culture around us that may not be helpful in assisting us to make changes that we want to make in our lives and our habits. So I kind of like to go through maybe 4 motivating factors to make, maybe even just some simple changes to your nutrition right now. So the first motivator that I like to talk about is values. If we understand that what we eat can impact how much we're able to be calm and not anxious, how much we're able to think clearly, maybe in the middle of crisis or difficult situations, and how much consistent energy we're going to have to either do the work that we need to do or be present with people and relationships in our lives. If we understand these things, we really see that there's a question of values in who we really want to be involved in what we eat. The second motivating factor I would bring up is here in counseling, we talk a lot about emotional regulation, like what are our emotions? How can we accept them with kindness? How can we channel them in healthy ways? But the thing is that since our emotions are really experienced very physiologically, often the most powerful and beneficial way to impact our emotion regulation is to change what we're eating. Just decreasing sugar can hugely change the quality and the positivity of the mood that you have. So the third reason that I would say is In times of uncertainty, where a lot of things are moving and shifting, it can seem like there is a lot that is outside of our control. And there's a podcaster called Jonathan Fields who talks about the creation of something called certainty anchors, which he says are simple rituals that help us stay stable in the face of fear and uncertainty. And what we eat is a very simple, predictable thing that we can schedule each day, that we can make small changes in, that's just something we can control to make ourselves healthier and happier and stronger, especially in the midst of uncertainty. So lastly, a lot of us, as I said, have trouble with our relationship with food because of some of the really difficult messages that we've received from society. And oftentimes when people think about changing their eating, they think of it from a place of guilt or from a place of having these high expectations that they need to meet. And my question for us is, what if we used this time to change how we think about nutrition as a way to offer ourselves care and comfort and kindness rather than more criticism and contempt and judgment? So I'd just like to read you quickly a quote from Janine Roth. She's a woman who's spent her career working with eating disorders and people's relationship with food. And she says, "Our work is not to change what you do, but to witness what you do with enough awareness, enough curiosity, enough tenderness that the lies and old decisions upon which the compulsion is based become apparent and fall away. When you no longer believe that eating will save your life, when you feel exhausted or overwhelmed or lonely, you will stop. When you believe in yourself more than you believe in food, you will stop using food as if it were your only chance at not falling apart. When the shape of your body no longer matches the shape of your beliefs, the weight disappears." So those are just some really beautiful words about the fact that what we eat is very connected to our relationship with ourselves, and how can we make that a better, kinder, more caring, more healthy relationship. So you might be wondering, what are 3 easy changes that could help shift my mood, energy, and focus positively? So if you're just looking for somewhere easy to start, these are 3 things you can do right now. The first one I would say is any change at all that you can make that would reduce sugar, especially processed sugar. It's okay to start small. Maybe you need to substitute. Maybe you're used to drinking regular soda and you'd like to drink some diet soda instead. Or maybe instead of a brownie, you could do a bar of dark chocolate and some blueberries. Anything you can do to cut down sugar can have a huge impact. And maybe you could keep like a simple daily log, just tracking your mood and your focus, maybe rating it on a scale of 1 to 10 on days where you have a lot of sugar, days where you have very little sugar, and just see what a difference there is or what an impact there is on how you feel. Okay, so first thing, reduce sugar. Second thing, again, replace anything processed you can with whole foods. So maybe for snacks, instead of cereal, granola bars, prepackaged, you could go for nuts, vegetables, fruit. What I like to do is I like to pick healthy stuff that I actually like. Personally, I don't force myself to eat anything, so if there's a veggie I don't like, I don't eat it. I just find another vegetable that I do like, and then I'm making a healthy choice, but I'm also enjoying what I'm eating. So number 1, reduce sugar. Number 2, replace anything processed with more whole foods, better options. Number 3, I would say really easy, you already know, but just drink a ton of water. Drink so much water that you don't even want other drinks, although I would say coffee has some great antioxidants and is a natural depressant, so if you want to do that in the morning, that's great. But I like to sometimes add things to my water to make it a little more interesting. I'll put in lemon juice or lime or herbs or even like some berries, anything just to give it kind of a fresh taste. And last thing I would say is for women, we do have a little bit of a complex hormone balance that can be different. So if you're someone who is already doing all these things, you eat whole foods, you cook a lot of what you make, you drink a bunch of water, you limit sugar, and you're still having a lot of maybe kind of like mental health kind of symptoms, either fluctuating moods or anxiety or trouble focusing, you might want to consider talking to a nutritionist or a doctor about some of those things. However, for the rest of us, these are easy changes that you can make, and maybe you can really just track and see what difference does it make to how I feel and how I function. Because what I've found is that as people start experiencing the benefits of having so much more energy, of having a more stable mood and less anxiety, that becomes more worthwhile to them than the temporary pleasure of eating something. And actually, with sugar, since it's very addictive, the taste of it becomes less attractive over time. So kind of the less you have, first it's very difficult to go off of, but the less of it you have, the less you will actually crave it and the better you feel. So finally, just as we're kind of wrapping this discussion up, I wanted to share a little bit of my personal experience with changing the way I eat and mental health. So for me, I would say that honestly, I ate terribly in my 20s. I didn't pay attention to a lot of things that I was eating, and I had very little motivation to change that. Just felt that there was a lot of pressure from society to eat a certain way for certain reasons that I didn't agree with. So my reasons for starting to make healthier diet changes were really when I started to change my relationship with myself and my body. I actually started doing yoga for about a year, and while I was doing yoga, I really learned to become more aware just of what my body was feeling and what I needed in the moment, and like when I was hungry and when I wasn't hungry. And starting to meet my body from a place of just kindness and compassion and staying with uncomfortable sensations rather than running away from them or avoiding them by trying to distract myself. So after about a year of yoga, I decided pretty quickly I was going to clean up my whole eating plan, and I basically threw out sugar, threw out processed things, I threw out gluten and some other things too, which I would not necessarily recommend to everybody, but for me, it's been hugely, hugely helpful. I would say that energy, mental focus, clarity, everything has been better. So currently what I do is I eat whole foods mainly, healthy fats, meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, and occasionally some gluten-free grains, which I rotate. I cook 85% of what I eat at home, which I think is a lot of fun. Great skill to develop if you want a new hobby. And I have a few easy rules for myself. Again, they work for me, they may not work for you, but my rules are I eat whenever I want to and as much as I want to, and I listen to my body, stop when I'm full. Like I said, I eat whole foods and cook, but if I go out with friends, I'll make an exception. Go to a restaurant, have kind of like a cheat night and eat with friends however I want. But mainly I listen to my body and what I need rather than external expectations or numbers or what other people are telling me. So I would say the benefits I've experienced have been huge. My sleep has been better. I don't have energy crashes. My mood is a lot more stable. And actually, just the increase of energy has led me to be able to invest in a lot of new projects and new relationships and new ideas and work and just exercising more, and really just has impacted every area, like my work, my relationships, every part of my life. So those are some of the reasons why, as you can hear, nutrition and mental health can be really connected, and we all want to have the best quality of life that we can have. So if any of this has hit home with you, maybe some of the underlying reasons maybe made sense to you about what your relationship with food is and how you would like to change it, I would just encourage you to just start simple where you are. I've included some resources which should be in the link, and I'd just like to highlight for you the Choose My Plate app. It's very easy. You can download it from the link, and maybe that's an easy way to just start keeping track of some stuff. And then if you have a little bit of a further interest about some of the things I discussed about motivation and our kind of emotional relationship with food, I'd say the book Women, Food, and God by Janine Roth is really beautiful. Just a really lovely examination of that. So I hope you all are doing well and staying healthy, and please continue to contact us with any questions you may have, and wishing you all the best, and just encouraging you again to be kind to yourselves, start where you are, and keep making healthier choices for the lives that you want. Thanks so much.